Okay, got a lot on the calendar. Let's go through it. 2 more labs I put up. The bracket drawing I'll talk about right now. We're going to take the bracket that we built, we modeled this thing, and we're going to make our first drawing of it. So SolidWorks is opposite of AutoCAD. AutoCAD, you just make drawings, right? 2-dimensional drawings. SolidWorks, you make the part first. Get it right. Get happy with it, obviously, before you make the drawing. And then SolidWorks will make a good portion of the drawing for you. So my hesitation to say that is some of you might just like make the drawing and then submit it. You need to spend some time with it because the dimensioning is going to be pretty chaotic. It comes in with the drawing. So we'll do that in a second. Let's talk about everything first. So here's another lab that I put up because you went through the 3D sketch thing. I thought I would give you a lab to practice the 3D sketch, although it's really 2D sketching because it's all in single plane. You just have to model a paper clip. You can use these dimensions if you want. That's fine. Just model it up. So create the sketch, create the profile, do a sweep, kind of like you did in that one tutorial. It's a pretty simple project. Small paper clip, big paper clip. If you actually want to get a paper clip and measure it, we have dial calipers. You can do that however you want to do it. But I did put that one up. Also, it's not due till the 11th, so we have quite a bit of time to forget about it and not do it. So sorry about that. All right, so there's that one. Now that's just, I pulled a picture off the internet and had that information. So yeah, you got to model 100 of them. Good luck with that. I would just make I just array it.
The small one or the big one, right?
Right. And then the drawing one I'll put out. I did put it in the submission area. The drawing one. So here's drawing information. I'll build a topic for that. So it's in the folder. But I do want some specific things. I want A size paper. This is A size paper, right? B size is 11 by 17. And I want 0.1 inch text height on the dimensions. And I'll show you how to tweak that. Okay, so not 0.125, which I think is the default. I'm making you change it to 0.1. Just so you get practice doing that. We're going to put a title block in it, but we won't use one of SolidWorks. You can use it if you want, and I'll show you how to use it. And then you can just customize it to put in the stuff that you want. Okay. So that's in here too. And there's a quiz today. So that was on the calendar. Surprised me, but why not? So we'll do that. It's not too difficult. After I get done talking, it'll be quiz time. You'll submit it here. Okay. So if you want to use a system in here to do the quiz, you can. If you want to use your own, you can do that, whatever you want. Okay. The quiz, I'm going to guess, I don't know, I modeled it in about 5 minutes, so it might take you 5 minutes. You're all faster than me. Maybe take you 10. No, I don't think so, Jorge. Come on. Maybe. All right, any questions about anything before I go off and make a drawing? Everything okay? Y'all are doing good. I just went through your coffee mugs again. I just was loving them. They're all different, you know. If you haven't gone through and looked at them, they're pretty fun. So I like the open-ended projects like that. So I'll give you some more of those kind of things just to model up. Because that's actually kind of how it comes to you, you know. Someone will just come in and say, can you model this? And they'll hand it to you. You'll go, maybe. Right? So it's kind of fun. All right. So when you get your part done, it is up here, File, Make Drawing from Part. So you get your part done, you should save it. I have saved it as bracket. But you just tell SolidWorks, hey, let's make a drawing from this part. So then it's going to ask you a series of questions. It's going to start off with the sheet size or the paper size. A size is this 8.5 by 11. It's given it to us in millimeters, and it's not wonderful, but that's what A size is. There's B size. You can see it kind of opened up. C size, D size, right? So this is a landscape, this is a portrait. And there's situations where you might want to do it portrait, right? We're gonna do it landscape. Down here is display sheet format, and this is normally toggled. It's on by default. And the sheet format is the title block. It's that blue area right there. That's the sheet format. So if you want their sheet format, you toggle it and you're gonna get it, right? But we can customize it. So if you've had AutoCAD, it's a little like Paperspace Model Space. We can edit the sheet format, which is the title block. Or we can work on the drawing, one or the other, but they're not kind of in the same space. They're in different space. So we'll cover that. So I'm gonna leave it toggled. So that means I'm gonna get the title block. And it looks like that title block is complicated, so I'll definitely edit it. Okay, so I'll say, okay. So then it's gonna go through its transition. Now we're no longer part modeling, we're in a drawing. It's a completely different little sub software. Okay, so the part is still open. I could go to it, but now I'm in the drawing. When you zoom, you see the paper. And this is, again, this is SolidWorks sheet format. We can make these sheet formats. Companies have their own sheet formats that would be loaded and you would get it, right? And it has a pretty extensive title block down here. It does fill some things in, which is interesting. So it put the name of it in here, bracket. So whatever you call your part, it's gonna be the drawing name. So that's kind of nice. And it's got a scale in there already that it's gonna choose to use. So it's making a guess, like it thinks this 2:1 scale will work. Okay. So, and it's sheet 1:1 because it's only one drawing so far, and it's A size. The rest is just blank. Okay. So I am in kind of draw. When you come in, you're in drawing mode. You're ready to do a drawing. The views are off to the right. So it loads the views. I recommend, it's just my recommendation, there's a number of ways to do this, is to grab your front view and pull it in. So orthographic projection is front, top, right side. That's what I want, is a 3-view orthographic projection. Usually the front controls it. So I'm gonna grab the front and drag it in. So it's just click and drag, pull it in. Looks kind of big to me, SolidWorks, but we're gonna go with it for right now. And it places it. Okay, now it's still active. If I move the mouse off of the front view, I get other views. It's kind of cool. Any view I want, right? I can get the bottom, and you can go off at an angle and get an isometric, which you see quite a bit, people placing like an isometric in the upper right corner because it's so easy. Why not? It helps people see the part, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to place the top. I click to place it, come back down here, go over here and place the right. Click to place it. Okay. And then I'm going to just hit escape to get out. So I've placed the 3 views. Now we have control over how we look at those views. I don't see any hidden lines. Right? Anyone else see any hidden lines? No hidden lines there. So we might want to turn the hidden lines on. That just means they're turned off. There's lots of controls. So just be careful. When I click on a view, I get all of the information about that view, which is going to also control the other 2 views. It's all over here. So if I wanted to change the scale, like I think that's a little too big, I could do that. I could go, okay, I want to see what 1:1 looks like. I don't even see 1:1. Where is it? Oh, it's up there. Yeah, it's a little small. I see why it probably did, you know. All right. Yeah, you can make custom ones. I'm not going to do that. Because I'm going to annihilate this title block and that'll give me more room, right? But here's the views, right? And if you want hidden lines, you just got to turn them on. It's just a view cube. It was here. And so I click that and now I get my hidden lines. Okay, so you have control over it to kind of look as you want it to look. All right, so before I start dimensioning, I'm gonna deal with this title block a little bit. It's massive. A lot of stuff in there I don't want, okay? This is a little weird. I'm not that impressed with how SolidWorks does it. But if you right click, and I'm just not on a view, I'm just in here, I right click. The title block is called a sheet format. Okay, so I have to edit the sheet format. That gets me into basically the paper and the title block. Notice that the drawing went away because now you're just in a different mode. You're working on the title block. And and here it's just like sketching. You can use all your sketch tools, same kind of thing. I'm just gonna grab a bunch of this and get rid of it. And then I'm gonna use trim and just trim these up a little, right? And I might want to keep going and get rid of some of this stuff, but that's good enough for now. I just eliminated kind of the upper section. I get rid of that and that. So you can just customize this all you want. Maybe this is all you're gonna have in the end, right? You'll get rid of this kind of stuff. All right, now to go back to your drawing, same thing, right click and it's edit sheet, which I think is dumb. Like, that's just dumb terminology, I think. But it's the way it is. So if you see edit sheet, you're going back to the drawing. If you see edit sheet format, then you're gonna go work on the title block. Okay? That's the way it works. And now I can't get to this. That's kind of locked. But this gives me more space, right? A lot more space. So if you're careful with your mouse, you can see there's a 4-way move the view icon on the mouse right there. So I can take this and move it down. Those views are locked together, which is very nice because we want it in projection. This one's a little high. I'll pull it down. All right, looking good. Good so far? That's pretty easy. And the next part is really easy. So in annotation, that's notes and dimensioning and that kind of stuff. There's something called model items. So when we early started modeling, I said, you know, put your dimensions in and pull them out and kind of organize them. It's now going to pull those dimensions into your drawing. So whatever dimensions you used to create your part, I'm going to pull them in, which is nice. I don't have to do that much work dimensioning. It's called model items. And in here, we want it set to the entire model. So the default is selected feature. I change it to entire model. I must have already done that. Software is open, so I remembered I did that. If you do that, you don't need to do anything else. You just hit check and it's gonna, oh, I had a darn, sorry about that. We'll do that again. Entire model, don't have a view. I had a view chose. Here, I'll undo that. So I must have had this view chose when I went in there. You don't want that. So don't have a view chose and it'll bring everything in, entire model. Okay, now it kind of chooses what view to put it on. That doesn't mean it's right. It just pulls them in for you, which is kind of nice, but they're always a mess and you need to clean it up because I'm not going to like that if you give me that. Nobody would like that if you give them that, right? So now it's just a process of going in and being methodical because it's easy to miss like that too. That's an easy one to miss. When you drag it around, it has little bumps. So bump, bump. See how it does that? No bump close. So that should be your first placement. So that's a code. Like that's an ANSI standard. Like that the dimensions are a certain distance away from the object. SolidWorks is bumping that for you. Not all dimensions are going to bump like that, but most will. That looks a little far away to me. So I might sneak that one in. And then you can move the text around too. Just go slow. You can get different looks. Yeah. Make sure your gaps are showing up. So these gaps are important. That gap. If they're not, then that dimension is just maybe pulled the wrong way. Like if I pull it up, there's no gap, and this is locked in the wrong spot, maybe. Maybe I just don't want it there. Maybe I want it here. Anyway, you have to fuss with it. Bump, that bumps. This should bump. Bump, right? So you just work your way through and clean it up. This should not be there, should be over there. In line with that one. Yeah? Questions? Bumping, just getting it all clean and organized and pro looking, so the county likes it and approves it. If I need a little more space, so I want to move this guy up. We'll move. I gotta move this one up. And it jams it up there. So yeah, you start to organize this a little bit. And then the last thing I would do, obviously, is make sure everything's in, it's fully dimensioned. And if I want to add any notes, I can do that. The text size. The text size coming in is here, let's get out of here. So that if I click on a dimension, it'll show me information about the dimension. Very little information about the text here. This is like primary value 2. That's this thing, right? This DIM is this dimension. So if I added TYP, see how it shows up? So that's how you can add information to a dimension. Don't delete the DIM, or that 2 is no longer linked to the part. And if you were to go change the part right now, all these dimensions would change. But if you get rid of the DIM, then that link is broke and it won't update. So it's just bad strategy to mess with that. All right, so where's the text information? It's here under other. This is where the text font is, and it's using the document font. All right, that's great. That's under here. And you can, if I pull that up, you can see there is document properties, and I can go find the text. I don't have to do that. But that's where it's set. I can reset it. I can say, okay, don't use the document font. And I can choose the font, and I can say, oh, I don't want 125, I want 0.1. And it changed that one. See how it got smaller? Yeah. But I want to change them all, right? Not just one. So I can just window the whole thing. That's going to highlight everything, right? Go back into the document font and make a change. You can set this ahead of time too. I just didn't. So now it's all 0.1. It did move some things around. Everything else looks okay. Okay, so that was in this other area right there. Text fonts. This is just the value of the dimension. All right. I'm going to scoot that down. I'm going to scoot this up. Because I need to name my views still. And that's under annotation. Right here. And then there's note. So when you click note, it attaches to your mouse. See it? And you can drag it around and then place it. Caught. If I click, I still have it. And I can place it down here. It knows I don't want top, so it highlights it. Front. Click. And I can get side over here somewhere. Placing text. Yeah, general notes, that kind of stuff. But we pretty much have it. I didn't really go through the dimensions to see if they're all on there, but everything that I used to build the part is on there. So maybe it's not where I want it. If you want to add dimensions, it's just smart dimension right here. It's like it was before. So if I wanted to add a dimension like from here to here, which is Already on the other side, I shouldn't do that, but I'm gonna place it. Notice how it's different color. You see that? Black, and this is gray. So this is a modeling dimension that was used to make the part, and this is just added on. So it's gonna keep track of that kind of stuff because these will update if I change the part. This will not update if I change the part. All right, so I shouldn't have that in there because it already exists here. I don't want to be redundant. This could use a notation for locations, so I'd probably put that in. Right? I'm not sure I need this one and this one if they're all the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If you want to add a view, model view. Thought I could pull it right off. Oh, it's not going to do that. Kind of wanted to add a 3D view. Let's see if I can get it. So I added that view. Pull it up and it looks big, right? So I can change the scale on that thing. A little too small. So you're seeing that a lot more, that kind of setup. When you're done, you can save it, obviously, save as, and it's going to be a different extension on the part file name. So it's a SLD DRW, SolidWorks drawing. So that's different than a PRT file, right? It's a separate file. It's attached to the part. They're connected. So if you send me this and not the part, I can't look at the drawing. The two have to travel together. Okay? So when you send me this DRW file, you're going to have to include the part file or it won't open for me. And then I also want a PDF. Okay, so you'll have to include 3 things. That make sense? They're connected. So it really becomes a problem with assemblies because assemblies are connected too. So when we make assemblies, multiple parts coming together, if the parts don't travel with the assembly, it blows up. It's a problem.
When turning it in, will like the turn-in section, will it not go crazy if you just send like a file rather than?
You can just send a file.
No, I'm talking about
Zip file?
not a zip file, but like you put multiple different, for example, like the part, the PDF and the drawing into one file and then send the file together.
That's what a zip file is. Yeah, you can do that. I can handle zip files. Don't send me something odd. I don't know, unless I can open it, I guess. But zip files I get all the time from students, so.
No, I'm just wondering if the turn-in section won't go crazy since we used to just turn in each file separately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then to get a PDF, you can just change the format to PDF and it'll create it. So that's pretty easy in the save as process. Good. Questions? All right, we'll do this. We'll do the quiz right now, and then this will be a project, and then the paperclip's a project. All right, rock and roll. I think I made copies, but that's it. So if you want a paper copy, it's right here. It is also in Blackboard if you want to pull it up. It's available now. There is a special area to submit quizzes, so use that area. Most of you, well, I'm gonna say 50% of you loaded up the sprocket and the weight, and 50% of you forgot to give me the weight, which it was still probably in the part file, but I didn't go look, but I didn't mark you down for that. But this says determine the weight, so include the weight when you upload it, please. I called the material stainless 304 in SolidWorks. It's just steel 304. And of course, if you have any questions on the dimensions or anything like that, ask me. I tweaked a few numbers, so mine looks pretty close to that, but not exactly like it. So it's not exactly like it, but it's close.
The center hole. Tapered a little bit.
It's not, no tapers. It's gonna look a little tapered, but it's not. The center hole has a relief, a chamfer on the edge. Yeah, so if you don't understand that, come see me and I'll explain it to you.
Got chamfer on both sides or just the top of the
Mm-mm.
one?
The chamfer's just on the inside, this little lip right here.
No, but I meant on the bottom and.
No, just this top side.
All right,
Yeah,
got it.
thanks.